The biggest lessons I've learned in my life are here. Through different stories and topics, I'm going to inspire and motivate you to reach your success and your dreams. I'm so grateful that you're here with me on Journey to Success. So, let's enjoy my next episode together. Did you know that nearly 90% of startups fail within the first year? And it's not just businesses. I'm not talking all about businesses, guys. Many of us face failure in different areas of our lives. We know that. But here is the twist: most successful people have failed not once, not even twice, but are often multiple times before reaching their goals. Why? What is the reason? Because they learn from each setback. So, in today's episode, we're going to dive deep into why failure is actually a powerful step towards success, towards your success. Anyway, guys, my name is Fabio from Journey to Success, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about failure, how to embrace failure to achieve success. So, failure, it's a word that makes most people uncomfortable. We're often taught to avoid it, to fear it, to see as something negative. But in reality, failure is one of the most effective teachers on the journey to success. Failure shows us what doesn't work, and also it builds resilience, and it can actually guide us closer to what we truly want. I know, for some people, this might sound strange. I know that. I mean, why would anyone want to embrace failure? But I mean, let's think about it, right? If you never fail, are you really pushing your limits? Are you gonna push yourself? Or are you playing too safe? So, in this episode, we're gonna look at why failure is a critical part of success, how it pushes people to grow, and why those who learn from their failures often reach greater heights than those who fear it. So let's jump in. But of course, as always, before to go forward, please subscribe so I know this is the right direction to drive you, to lead you, to guide you towards your journey to success. And let's go forward, all right? Let's go forward. Let's talk about something most people don't like to admit: the fear of failure. So, this fear is incredibly common. I know that. It can feel like a wall between us and our goals. How often have we avoided trying something just because we're afraid we might fail? Maybe you have a dream of starting a business, or writing a book, or reaching a fitness goal. But then that little voice pops up like, what if it doesn't work? Or what if people judge me? So many dreams get stuck in our minds, and we don't take the action to make them real. That's so important to do that. But just we get stuck because we are afraid of what exactly? Hmm? Afraid to fail. But what does it mean? I mean, when you fail, you just learn from your mistake, and then you can move forward to learn a new lesson. So the fear of failure can hold us back, that's true, creating this cycle of never trying and as a result, never succeeding. But at the same time, it's easy to stay in our comfort zone. But the comfort zone is rarely where big achievements happen. So, how can we break free from this fear? How can we move forward even when we are afraid? So let's start. Let's dive deep into this topic. One of the best ways to overcome the fear of failure is by looking at examples of people who faced failure at home, and after that they later succeeded because of it. Let's start with a famous example. All right, Walt Disney. Today, Disney is one of the biggest names in entertainment. But did you know Walt Disney himself was fired from a newspaper job early in his career? They say they lacked creativity. Can you imagine? Walt Disney lacked creativity. Well, they say that. But I mean, it didn't let the failure define him. He took it as a lesson. For sure, he had a lot to learn, continued to work on his ideas, and eventually created the Disney empire we know. Another example is J.K. Rowling, alright, so the author of a Harry Potter series. She faced multiple rejections from publishers before one finally agreed to publish her book. And today, her stories are loved by millions worldwide. They also made a video game from it. If she had let rejection stop her, she wouldn't be where she is now, guys. Then there is Steve Jobs, who was fired from his own company. So it happens with Apple itself in the early years. So instead of giving up, he used this experience to learn, eventually returning to Apple to make it one of the most successful companies in the world. And yeah, now it's a legend. So each of these people faced failure, but they didn't let it end their journey. They learned from it, grew, and came back, especially, even stronger. So, what can we learn from them? First, that failure doesn't define you, didn't define them. It's what you do after failure that matters. It's what you do after failure that defined you. These stories show us that resilience, persistence, and an open mind are key to turning failure into a stepping stone. So, by learning from what went wrong, you can find a new approach, develop a stronger mindset, and continue on your journey to success. Okay, now let's focus on defining moment for one of these individuals. All right, let's be focused a little bit on Steve Jobs. After he was fired from Apple, he later said in a speech that being fired was one of the best things that ever happened to him. Why? What is the reason? Because it freed him to be creative again. So he learned to let go of his ego, to listen to others, and to approach his work with a new perspective. That failure wasn't just an end, it was a new beginning. He didn't just return to Apple, he revolutionized. This is the key point. Instead of letting failure crush him, he used it to reflect, to adapt, and to grow. So, this mindset, guys, this mindset of seeing failure as an opportunity is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. So, when you face a setback, remember, it could be a setup for something even greater. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about myself. All right. You have no idea how many times I've been fired or simply pushed away because I wasn't the right fit for the job. You have no idea. But here I am working a job that lets me create this podcast and speak to you all. Let's not even get into how I start exploring the potential of the internet in my 20s, yet only now, after 15 years. It's a lot of time if I think about it. You're hearing my voice just now. But I really discovered the potential of the internet 15 years ago. The setbacks, the countless attempts before this podcast with trading, affiliate marketing, web agency, and binary options, digital products. You cannot imagine the struggles. Even Journey to Success, my podcast, our podcast, didn't have its name from the start. For over a year, it was called From Failure to Success. Before that, it was simply Fabio Podcast. Before that, I don't even remember which name I gave. Technically, I started the podcast you hear right now, my baby, in April 2022. But I have been in the podcast world for 4 years now, and I've deleted the previous podcast because I wasn't sure how many things happened in these years. You have no idea. No, I'm sure. I'm sure about my path. I'm sure about my podcast. I know this is my journey. This is my path, my journey with you guys. But if you only knew the setbacks, the mistakes that turned into lessons, the headaches, and the desperation also. But here I am. And I will defend this teacher always, Mr. Failure, Professor Failure, because he's taught me things that nobody else could. Meanwhile, there is, let's say, Mrs. Comfort Zone, doesn't teach me much at all. All right, she might help me recharge. That's very important. Mrs. Comfort Zone help you always to recharge, to get your energy back. All right, it's important to rest, to enjoy. But Mr. Failure, he does the hard work, guys. He's the one who's helped shape me into who I want to become. And the same is for you. Think about it. Okay. Now, we've talked a lot today. From the fear of failure to stories of people who overcame huge setbacks. And also including my story as well. And here there is just one main takeaway: failure is not the end. That's it. It's just a natural and the necessary part of the journey to success. Embracing failure doesn't mean you are giving up, it means you're learning, adjusting, and getting stronger. When you understand that failure is a stepping stone, you will start to see every setback as a chance to grow and improve, guys. So the next time you are faced with a challenge or a setback, remember that this is just part of the journey, part of your journey. So success is not just about reaching a destination, it's about learning and growing along the way. That's what we talk about every time. Also, the name of the podcast, Journey to Success. That's what we're talking. Okay. Now, I would love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a failure that ended up teaching you something valuable, guys? Share your story in the comments because your experience could inspire someone else. And if you enjoy today's episode, please share it with someone who might need this message. Your support means a lot to me, and while I would love for you to follow my podcast, of course, the most important thing, as always, is that you find real value here. Thank you for joining me today on Journey to Success. Remember, each failure is a step closer to success. Cheers. Wow, can you believe it? Here we are at the end of the episode. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sticking around, guys. If you enjoyed what you heard, I would really appreciate if you could take a moment to share this episode with someone who could benefit from it. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to catch you in the next episode. Cheers.